Welcome back to the Music Bar Podcast, and this is episode 46, and my name is Chris. I'm your host, obviously, and I just want you to know this is going to be the very first podcast we're doing in the series of Artist Showcase. So I've picked a piece of music that I've loved all my life, pretty much, and I'm going to play it for you. You'll be able to follow through. I'll pause and I'll talk about it here and there. But this particular piece of music goes for 13 minutes. It's obviously, I'm wearing an Eruption shirt, so it's obviously going to be a Van Halen thing. 1986, I was 16 years old when this came out. Van Halen Live Without a Net, and it's the first tour that Sammy Hagar did with Van Halen after they recorded the 5150 album. And I watched this one day at home. My brother had it on VHS, and I was just mesmerised by it. Absolutely mesmerised. And then I got to the solo, and my life changed. I realised at that point I wanted to play guitar. I was already learning it, but that was just like, wow, this is amazing. I don't play like Eddie Van Halen whatsoever. Never have tried. Not my style. I've been a rhythm player most of my life. So that's what I like. But watching him play this really just changed my view on Van Halen and Eddie Van Halen as well, particularly. And I just want to run through with you this piece of music. Before I get into it, though, what I like about this solo is if you've been to a concert and seen some guy jump on stage and just go flashy, I get kind of bored with that. This one here, even though it's flashy to a point, it's all different little solos he's done from Eruption in 1978 to Cathedral, Spanish Fly, 316, and even Mean Street. They're all put together, but he's put them together in a beautiful melodic songwriting sense. If you're trying to understand what I mean, he's made it flow all the way through, and obviously later on he's done other tours and he's done the same pieces of music. But for me, they did not capture the ability to make it sound like a song. It was honestly back then those solos were to me jagged kind of thing. They didn't really flow, and he couldn't obviously continue doing this one the way it was. You've got to change up a little bit here and there. So out of all the concerts he's done and all the solos he's done, this one here to me is the perfect one. It flows. It's like a melodic song, and as you'll see as I stop here and there, some of the pieces of music are from a different album here and there. But yeah, and also take in mind when I'm playing this and you're listening to this, a lot of these guitar noises that he makes and the finger tapping that he does and the running the palm down the strings and the running the two fingers up the strings. These are all noises that he was doing back in 78, which obviously he recorded Eruption in 78, and he'd have been playing them for a while. And a fun fact is, I'm pretty sure it was David Lee Roth said to Eddie, when we go on stage after we release the first album, I don't want the crowd to see what you're doing, because nobody did this back then to the extent of what Eddie did. This day and age, we can watch YouTube and see anything we want to see. Back in those days, you buy the vinyl and the cassette, and that's all you could listen to. You couldn't even watch it unless you went to a concert. So David said to Eddie, during those concerts back then, people are going to come and watch us to see what you're doing so they can go home and learn it. And he was right. Obviously, as a guitar player, you would want to know, what did I just listen to? Now I need to learn how to do it. So Eddie Van Halen used to face the amp, turn around back to the audience and play those pieces, just so the crowd could not always see what he was doing. And eventually, obviously, the world knew. But it's just phenomenal to know that some of this stuff there in this solo came from way back in the 70s and early 80s and changed the course of guitar playing. And that's why, to me, Edward Van Halen will always be the GOAT. And yeah, so we'll just start cracking on here, and I'll stop it here and there and discuss a few things. But the first piece of music that you're about to see him play is a piece that was recorded actually in 1981 on the For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge album. It's called 316, and being American, they put the month before the date of the month. Um, so yeah, 316. Sorry, so 16th of March, which is Wolfgang's birthday. So 3rd of 16, and that was recorded on the For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge album. So it's been around for a long time, but this is his introduction to this solo. And if you listen to it, just try to think about how it would sound on an acoustic, because he used to play this to Wolfgang when he was a baby all the time. And yeah, so let's get on to it. But it's amazing. He's phenomenal.
Alright, so now comes my favorite part of the show. It's my favorite part of the whole evening. We've been on tour since March, and I have no better time anytime than right now, because I get to go sit down, have myself a nice cold one, and listen to the greatest rock and roll guitar player in the world, Mr. Eddie Van Halen.
And I agree. He's the greatest guitar rock and roll player in the world. And look at this. They're a hard rock band wearing happy pants. It always made me smile when I used to watch this. I used to think it was funny. You get people like Judas Priest and Motley and all those guys wearing happy leather and those kind of things. But these guys here they're out to party and play music. That's all they cared about, and be comfortable, I guess. But yeah, this piece here, in a moment, he'll start with 316 and then goes into what you'll see. stop you right here. So this piece of music you're about to hear comes from Eruption, and I just want you to pay attention to his right hand. People have actually studied this. The reason they have is because he's anchored his arm onto the body of the guitar, the top, but most people would still pick and have their finger or their palm on the guitar to get the position of the pick in the right place. Now you'll see in a second, he's actually coming from the front, so he's actually got his arm over and it's hovering in the right place, but he picks so fast and only picks one string, but doesn't ever waver away from that one string. And people have always been amazed by the fact that he can do this. He does it later on in the solo as well, you'll see from a different angle. But if you can just imagine trying to pick one string away from the guitar without anchoring your hand, it's a very difficult task, and that's why it's pretty amazing. Plus this piece, it's one of the most recognisable pieces from Eruption. There's a bit later on he does the finger tapping, which everyone knows, but yeah, keep going on, hey? Right there, away from the guitar. How he does it, no one knows. So this piece here is a finger tapping that, if you're in 1978 and listen to this for the first time at home on your vinyl record player or your cassette player and heard this, and you're a guitar player, you'd have no idea what was going on. And that's the thing about this. That's why he's so phenomenal. He didn't invent finger tapping, but he definitely brought it to the forefront, and he definitely perfected it. And everybody does it now since, you know. There's so many players now who do this. And honestly, there's some of them out there who are way better than what Eddie does. But yeah, this piece of music is what you'll hear. And if you talk Eruption, this is the one that most people recognise straight away and refer to. And it's great sounding. Thumbs up to the crowd. Eddie's 31 when he was doing this, and then loving life. So again, listening to Eruption in 1978 at home in your bedroom, hearing noises come from the guitar and not knowing how, because you would not have a clue, you can see here he's using, obviously by mid-bar, holding it down, getting feedback. He's hitting the back of the fretboard with his fingers. He's also playing with the volume a lot, and he's also hitting the springs in the back of the guitar and picking the strings on the other side of the nut up near the headstock. And that was never heard of before. So those kind of things would have made you go, what's going on? You know, it's just... And he makes it sound so melodic, in a way. So this next piece you see and listen to is a piece called Cathedral. Now, Cathedral was written for the album Diver Down in 1982, and if you watch his right hand is not picking at all. It's just on the volume knob, just swirling up and down really, really quickly. And then you've got his left hand just doing hammer-ons the whole way. Everywhere over the fretboard, just hammering on as hard as possible. And he has this beautiful cathedral kind of sound. It's like the organ from a cathedral, hence the name. And a lot of people have said and written about this, the sound he got from this. So some people say it's an echo pedal with chorus. Some say it's a digital delay with chorus. But either way, most of them say it's echo. But the sound he gets, using the volume as well, it's just amazing. And this is one of my favourite pieces of music that he's ever written. You can see his right hand there. So haunting. I love it. Beautiful. So this next piece of music, it's pretty amazing. He actually started obviously listening to different people around that time, and he heard the bass guys, especially the funk bass players, doing the slapping, slap picking. And so this is a song called Mean Street, and this is the opening of Fair Warning, and he's doing this piece of music at the beginning of that, inspired by the slap funk bass players. So he's hitting his thumb on the 6th string on the 12th fret, and then the next finger he's hitting the 1st and 2nd strings on the 12th fret, and then he's on his left hand he's just muting it. And just listen to this; it's just it's just I love it. It's just amazing. I can never get rid of stick of this. So from now on to the end, it's mainly parts of Spanish Fly, which was on the Van Halen 2 album. He plays this originally on a nylon string, which, if you're going to play a nylon string, most people could not get a sound out of it doing finger tapping, but obviously he can. And he's worked out how to do it because he's Eddie. So yeah, you'll see pieces of this. If you listen to Spanish Fly, you'll hear it very similar to this. And that's probably the last piece that's known. Let's get on with it, and listen to it. It's great. I love how he just nods to the audience to say thank you, you know? It's such a humble guy. You can see his hand here, how it's not been anchored anywhere except for the forearm. And he's just one spot. So robotic. But it's just amazing. Such good control. So that's 316, and all the rest included. It's from the 1986 concert, Live Without a Net. Again, I watched that when I was a kid, and I watched it that many times. It's not funny. I could hum along with it perfectly if I needed to. It's such a great piece of music, all joined together to make one song, and that's where I got my love of Van Halen from. So, have a listen to that concert from beginning to end. The concert is really, really good, and they just have such a fun time on stage, which is so good to see. This was after, obviously, 1984, where they had all those issues with David Lee Roth wanting to go solo, etc., etc., in-house fighting, but you can see with Sammy Hagar, they're loving life at the moment, and yeah, it was a great concert. Would have been great to go see live. Anyone who did, you're very fortunate. So yeah, but anyway, thanks for watching this, the first artist showcase. There'll be plenty more in the future. If you have any ideas of what you would like for me to discuss or talk about, or even put on my podcast, put them in the comments. And please like and subscribe. Yeah, I'm not going anywhere. I love doing this. And yeah, I'll bring whatever I can to you content-wise. So cheers, and RIP Eddie, and rock on.